Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach, and today we're going to take a look at a player that I don't reckon anyone would have even spared a thought to. I'm sure you would have scrolled past his name, wouldn't even thought twice about him. So often you look at your mate's side at this stage of the year, and you can barely spot a difference in the lineups. You know, that's a bit of a frustrating thing about SuperCoach. Generally, you'll have maybe 20 of the same players in your starting squad. You know, sometimes more of the 30 guys we pick, so many of the same. So here's a bloke, he's rookie priced or a little bit extra, but he's a bloke that I bet no one's talked about, no one's thought about. I'm not saying he's going to debut and dominate, but I reckon he's a red hot chance. There's opportunity, and I just want to bring something different to the table. Rookies at this point of the year, I tend to not spend a great deal of time, but you know, sometimes you got to throw something out there. We talk about the same players so often these days, and I thought I'll just throw a guy out there. And he plays for the Adelaide Crows. His name is Patrick Wilson. Now, you're probably thinking, who the bloody hell is this shorty? You've plucked a name out absolutely nowhere, but he's in the midfield. He's priced at 190k. Now, he is currently on the rookie list, but we always see players upgrade. There's always an injury of the long-term style at some stage through the pre-season, and there's always players getting upgraded and given the chance, and I think he's definitely a guy who will. Now, the opportunity, which I mentioned, Adelaide have lost a number of players, which has been well documented, but in particular, Hugh Greenwood and Cam Ellis-Yolmen are two guys that I think are particularly relevant to this fella. I think he's a player who's dominated Sandford, and it's really important to know these guys sometimes because we see them play and they get their debut, and then you go, where has this guy been hiding? But you know, Shorty got the old AFL prospectus the other day, and his numbers are some pretty nice reading at sample level, which isn't always something that correlates, but it's worth noting. I remember the year before Max Gawn just exploded, he had an unbelievable VFL season, and at the time I didn't really know how dominant his season was at VFL level the year prior. So, look, let me read you some of his numbers. I'll just read his bio, and I do love the prospectus. I give it a fair old read each and every year, but here's his little bio, and worth noting that he's 25 years old too, so he's a mature age style, 188 centimetres, 89 kilos. Wilson hasn't been able to establish himself in the AFL side, but he continues to dominate at sample level. He finished runner-up in the McGarry Medal, averaging the 9th most champion data ranking points of any midfielder in the league to record double-figure games. He ranked in the top 10 in the competition for disposals, effective kicks, contested possessions, uncontested possessions, and inside 50s. Defensively, Wilson hasn't always been strong, rating elite. Oh, I misread that. Wilson has always been strong, rating elite for tackles per game, which included applying 22 in one game. And Fantasy Freako says, has to be in the Crows' plans this season. He's definitely a guy to keep our eye on. You know, everyone's got Rao locked in, 210k or whatever he is, and he's going to be great. Looked awesome in the intra-club the other day. He'll get plenty of opportunity, and he's a class act, obviously. But this guy, not even getting spoken about, still going to have to impress through the pre-season. There's no doubt about it, but he's mature age. Physically, he's ready. He's probably in the form of his career. And the Crows are in that position as a club and a list where they want to see what these guys have to offer. There's opportunity there, and there's also an inquisitive nature about the Crows at the moment because they're regenerating. You know, new coach, new thoughts, new plans, and therefore new players in different roles. And that midfield is something that's been talked about at the Crows a fair bit. They've got to do something different, and I think Wilson is the guy that could offer that up potentially. At some stage of the season, I'm sure he'll play, but I just wanted to throw something a little bit different out there. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're a South Australian or an Adelaide supporter, I'd love to get your inside view because I've pretty much just watched some tapes and read some numbers. I'd love to see your thoughts. No one knows their club quite like the actual supporters themselves, so it'd be great to see what you think. And in other news, Nakai Cockatoo, speaking about people in their clubs, I'm a Mad Cats fan, obviously, which most people probably know, and Cockatoo, little hamstring setback. Oh, it's frustrating for SuperCoach, but more so just for the general player. He could be absolutely anything if he gets his body right. I think it's just a minor setback. But gee whiz, there's no such thing as a minor setback for Cockatoo. He does any sort of hamstring, and we're talking minimum 3 weeks, even if it's just a slight strains. But anyway, Shorty, you won't get too frustrated. Let me know what you think on Wilson and any other unique rookies that you've got at the moment. I'd love to hear them. Cheers.